Now I have only just fitted the engine under tray, so I'm going to have to unbolt it from the front. I'm hoping to get away without taking the whole thing off again. I don't mind if I do have to. I wanted to fit it back on to make sure I had all the fittings and could remember actually how it went on, because it's got a couple of funny brackets that you have to fit. So we'll start off with undoing all of the bolts on the underside of the bumper, and then we'll move to undo the row that go across the top here, which I think is the final thing that holds them on. I suspect this will just pull away as usual. No. Okay, need to look at that. Perhaps I'll delve into the Haynes manual to find out how to do that. So I've now taken all the bolts off the underside of the front bumper. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to take the light clusters out, because that'll be a bit of extra work that I wasn't expecting. But let's have a look and see what else needs to be taken off. You know what, I've just remembered I've had this bumper off before, because I had to have it off to fit the oil cooler. So if I remember rightly, there are some bolts behind this grille that I have to take off up there. I've taken the ones off the bottom, and then it's just taking these ones off the top and then easing these away. Now I have a feeling there might be a screw or something behind here. I'm going to have to check. Unfortunately, I've still got the wheel liners in, so I'm going to have to at least get the clips and screws and whatnot off of the wheel liners, so that wheel arch liners, so that I can ease it back and have a look behind. But I do think there's something up here, if I remember rightly. Well, I've removed the inner wheel arch, as you can see, or the front piece. It's in two pieces, so this is the back part. I've removed the front part, and as you can see, there is no screw, which I when I took the bumper off last time, I don't remember removing the inner wheel arches, so I guess that shouldn't be a big surprise. Some people, in fact, I think a lot of the cars in the class run without the inner wheel arches installed, but there's an awful lot of stuff here that's going to get sprayed with mucky water, or sprayed with anything, if you don't have an inner wheel arch in, so I don't think I'm going to attempt to run without one. It looks as though I now do just prise this off, but I am going to go and check in the Haynes manual, because I don't want to break anything in this area and cause myself a load of grief. Yeah, I needn't have worried. They do just pull off. In fact, I know I've seen at the track when these bumpers get sort of bashed and knocked around, I remember seeing the mechanics just banging them back on. Yeah, I should have expected that. So that's pretty straightforward. So we'll do that the other side. Okay, time for the big reveal, see if it's worked. So I've taken off all the screws across here, taken those screws out from under there, unclipped the wing, the edges of the wing, and the screws out from the under tray, under the engine. So hopefully that's all of it. Yep, that's it. So I've just got to disconnect the lights. Okay. Take the light out completely. Okay, that's it done. Now I'll show you the challenge I've got. I've got bits of bumper and car all over the place. So now there's another bumper to add to it. Yeah, so it's all getting a bit of a challenge in here. I've got a big garage, I must admit. I can't complain. You know, it's a big double garage, but it seems to be filling with soot. as fast as I can get rid of it, you know. But what I'm going to do is, luckily I've got a sort of loft thing in this garage up there, so I'm going to try and get the bumpers up, the M Sport bumpers up in the loft, because as I said yesterday, I want to try and keep them. So I remember seeing this last time I had the bumper off. It's obviously had a crunch in the front, and in fact the bumper has a slight split in it which has been glued back together, and you can see that portion of the inner wheel arch has got a piece missing, and there's a bodged piece that fits in that gap which you can see just there. So hardly surprising really. It's, you know, it's a 20-year-old car, it's bound to have had some knocks along the way. So another difference with the M Sport is, of course, this air duct, which is for brake cooling. And if you look at the inner wing, see this hole here, this hole that goes sort of there. So the air passes through that and then supposed to cool the brakes. Because you haven't got the cutouts on the SE bumper, this is all blank sort of thing. There's no point to these air ducts. Now, luckily, to remove them is really easy. It's just a single screw. In fact, I can do it right now. There you go. There's no point in having the duct on there, so I may as well take that off. And then I think what I might do, and it's something I've seen other people do, is they remove the headlight, the fog lights, which will be about here, and put a piece of piping to duct air towards the brakes. I don't know that cooling the brakes is a big deal with these. I've not heard anybody complain that they get brake fade or anything. So maybe it's not such a big issue, but I do have that option. So what I'll probably do actually is I'll wait until I'm able to take the car for another test before I start messing around with ducting. It's not that the ducting is particularly difficult to create, I don't think, but it's just another component that you've got to worry about. I mean, you know, I'm going to have to strap it to something, and I've seen people strapping it. I was watching a video the other day. I think it was Danny Sylvester, Danny DC2. I think what he did was he ran a piece of ducting along there and cable tied it to that lower arm. Not that he was doing it on a BMW, but sort of equivalent on the car he was working on. Oh, it was a BMW actually, but not an E87. I could go that route, but I think initially I might leave it. There is another question on the brakes actually. You've got the option of removing this back plate. I don't know if that's good or bad. I haven't really figured out what's best. In fact, I think that's going to be one of those questions that I end up asking either Rob Page or Anthony Seddon, one of them, and see what their opinion is about running the back plates. Like I said, I haven't heard anybody complaining about brake fade, so maybe this is all a bit of a non-issue. So I checked the real OEM parts thing website, and this front duct is definitely a different part number on this car, on the M Sport to the SE. Oh, just in case you're watching this and wondering what the heck I'm playing at, I have to downgrade my bumpers from M Sport to SE or S, or, you know, standard anyway. So I've taken that off. I'm removing the front crash bar, and I've undone 2 nuts here and 2 nuts at the top, but then there was this pop rivet just here, and the only thing I can think it's there for is to hold this at the right sort of height, because if you let go of it, it drops down. I can't see what structural purpose it has, But the trouble is that if you don't, I've drilled through it. If you don't drill through it, then the whole of this plastic piece, which includes the whole of the crossbar that goes across the top of the front of the bonnet or hood, it's all got to come off, which is crazy. And what makes it worse is, I mean, if I had to take I'm trying to think, if I had to take the crash bar off during a race, I do not want to have to start drilling out pop rivets. So anyway, I've drilled out this one this side thinking, okay, I'm good, I'm now good to go. Unfortunately, there is another one on this side, but to make matters worse, hopefully I can show you this. There it is in there. It's it's through that hole there. So I'm going to have to get a long drill bit and drill it out. Yeah, I'm going to have to devise, maybe use a self-tapping screw or something. I'm going to have to use something different when I come to put it all back together, because, oh, you can see, actually, you can see the pop rivet there, can't you? Because I don't want to go through this every time I want to take the front crash bar off. Okay, so I got it off. Luckily, I had a long drill bit. I'd forgotten that I'd got these. That is a 7mm bit that seemed to do the job quite nicely. The only thing is, as you start to drill, the pop rivet starts to spin. So what I did was I used this screwdriver, my favourite screwdriver, which was my dad's, multi-purpose, does everything. I drove that behind the pop rivet with a dead blow hammer, which was just enough to jam it in there to stop it spinning, and then I drilled it out, and that worked. I guess my tip would be, if you're going to do this, make sure you've got the long drill bit, and just remember that to stop the pop rivet spinning, just jam something behind it to stop it spinning around. So I've drilled my pilot hole from the top, but there's a bit of a problem, which I'll show you. It comes out just below the pre-existing hole there, and I must admit, if I'd have looked more carefully, I possibly would have reused that hole and drilled another one directly above it. The problem I'm going to have is when I expand the pilot hole out to 12mm for the bolt, I reckon it's going to break into the existing hole, which means the drill bit will probably go all over the place, but we'll just have to cope as best we can. But something you could avoid. Yep. I got a little lucky in that it just about broke into the edge at the last, when I went through the final bit. So in fact the hole went through. Seems okay. I have to take a little bit more out, probably with a file, just to give a bit of space for the bolt. I used a 12.1mm drill. If I was doing it again, and if I had the time, I'd have got a 12.5 or a 13mm drill, I think. But I can cope with this anyway. Okay, so when in doubt, reach for the Dremel. So I started to file it, but it was taking way too long, and so I just elongated the hole slightly with the Dremel and a stone. Now this goes up through here quite easily. Of course, two things. On the underside, you can see that there's like a wedged gap between the head of the bolt and the crash bar, and at the top there will be a wedge as well. Now the only thing is, as I said on the back, about the back piece, it's not going to take any vertical load or anything like that, and all that's going to happen is it's going to be tugged sideways. So if I don't get it done up really tight, it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't shake loose. So I think I did at first, I thought I could make up some sort of wedge spacers using I could print some plastic ones, but quite honestly, I don't think I really need to. Seems a bit of overkill. Maybe if I'm at a loose end sometime, which doesn't sound likely anytime soon, maybe I'll do the wedge bits. But other than that, I think we'll just go with it the way it is. You can see I've made one of these packing plates again out of the 6mm steel. Use one of these big flat square washers on the top. The bolt going through this time, slightly shorter, 100mm from the underside of the head to the end, 105 from end to end. So I guess it's a 100mm bolt and the other one's 110. But you can see that, I'll just spin that a little. Okay, you can see it sticks out a little bit. Got to tighten it up, but I've done the same thing, nylock washer, nylock nut on the bottom, and then the washer. Okay, I'll get that all tightened up and we'll have a look at what it looks like after that. Okay, that all seems to work fine.